A billion-dollar empire collapsing, a justice system on the edge, and one senator daring to ask the question nobody else would. What happens when Americans stop believing their own government is fair? That's the fire Senator John Kennedy lit when he grilled Pam Bondi in a tense hearing that could shape the future of the Department of Justice. And for the next few minutes, you're about to see how his words, mixed with the rise and fall of figures like Michael Avenatti and Sam Bankman-Fried, exposed something terrifying about the future of America's justice system. Kennedy didn't waste time. He didn't wrap his point in legal jargon. He started with something every American can understand: legitimacy. The idea that our system only works if people believe it's fair. He pressed Bondi again and again, asking if legitimacy matters, and each time she said yes.
Senator Cruz would be next, but he's not here, so I call on Senator Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Bondi, welcome. Congratulations. Can we agree that legitimacy is important to America's criminal justice system?
Yes, Senator.
Can we agree that legitimacy is important to the Department of Justice, which in part administers our criminal justice system?
Yes, Senator.
And if Americans come to believe that our criminal justice system or our Department of Justice is acting illegitimately, that makes Americans less likely to accept the results of that system, does it not?
Yes, Senator.
And that makes Americans less likely to follow the substantive laws that we pass that are administered by the Department of Justice. Isn't that true?
Yes, Senator.
And if that happens, we have chaos, don't we?
Chaos.
And the social contract is breached, isn't it?
Yes.
Do you remember a person by the name of Michael Avenatti?
Yes.
Several years ago, he was a media star here in Washington.
An attorney, correct?
Yes. He was a media star. And many members of our media loved him because he persistently bashed Donald Trump. And he was on TV every day. He was on CNN more than Wolf Blitzer. Do you know where Mr. Avenatti is today?
I believe he's sitting in prison, Senator.
He's in jail because he was a crook. And the Department of Justice helped put him there, didn't it?
Yes, Senator.
Do you remember a gentleman by the name of Sam Bankman-Fried?
Yes, Senator.
Boy genius. So smart and so powerful that he thought he could command the tides. So smart and so powerful and so rich that he would go to meetings with serious people like Bill Clinton, like Tony Blair, looking like a slob, looking like a fourth runner-up to a John Belushi lookalike contest. And he thought it was cute. Where's Mr. Bankman-Fried today?
I believe he is in prison, and I believe that's from the Netflix series I saw as well.
Mm-hmm. Because he's a crook. And who helped put him there?
The Department of Justice, Senator.
Can we agree that there's some really, really good men and women at the Department of Justice?
many, many great men and women in the Justice Department, as well, Senator, as all the law enforcement agencies that fall within the Department of Justice. They're out there risking their lives, especially the law enforcement officers, every single day.
Can we agree, though, that there have been and may be today some bad people at the Department of Justice?
Yes, Senator.
We don't know for sure because for the last 4 years, the curtains there have been tightly drawn. But I think a minority of people there have delegitimized America's criminal justice system. The most destabilizing act that I saw in the past 4 years, maybe in the history of the department, is when Attorney General Garland decided on the basis of dubious facts and untested legal theories to criminally prosecute a former president of the United States. And not only that, this is the special part. He decided to do it after the former president of the United States had announced that he was going to run against Attorney General Garland's boss, didn't he?
Senator, are you referring to going after a political opponent?
I think so. Now, this is one person's opinion. That kind of stupid takes a plan. And I say that because, number one, this is America. That had never happened before in America. That's the sort of thing that happens in a country whose Powerball jackpot is 287 chickens and a goat. It doesn't happen here. And I call it stupid because it broke the seal. It broke the seal. It normalized it. There are a lot of ambitious prosecutors in America, Democrat and Republican. And I'll bet you right now there's some prosecutor in a particular state thinking about, well, maybe I ought to file criminal charges against President Biden's inner circle for conspiring to conceal his mental decline. And that's the road we're headed down. And you've got to fix it, Counselor. You've got to fix it. And here's, in my judgment, what I would ask you to do. Find out who the bad guys are and the bad women and get rid of them. Find out who the good people are and lift them up. But do it on the basis of facts and evidence and fairness. Because the temptation of some people is going to be, they're going to tell you, look, two wrongs don't make a right, but they do make it even. Don't resist that temptation. Help us restore legitimacy to the Department of Justice.
Thank you, Senator.
But Kennedy wasn't satisfied. He pushed further. If Americans think the system is illegitimate, if they believe it's rigged, then why would anyone respect its rulings? Why would they follow its laws? His conclusion was chilling. Without legitimacy, chaos follows. Protest, defiance, and the total breakdown of the social contract. That's not just theory. That's a warning. And Kennedy knew exactly how to prove it. To drive his point home, he pulled up names everyone remembers. Michael Avenatti, once the media's golden boy, plastered on TV screens, celebrated for attacking political opponents. He strutted across CNN like he owned the place. But today, he's sitting in prison. Kennedy didn't bring this up for drama. He used it to remind everyone that the justice system can still bite. It doesn't care if you're a TV star or the flavor of the month. If you're a crook, the system can still take you down. But here's the catch. That only works if the system applies its power fairly, without playing politics. Because selective justice is no justice at all. And Kennedy wasn't done. Next came Sam Bankman-Fried, the so-called genius of crypto. The man who thought he was untouchable, who strutted into meetings with world leaders like Bill Clinton and Tony Blair while dressing like a college dropout. Kennedy mocked the arrogance, the way he turned sloppiness into a costume of power. Bankman-Fried thought he was too big to fall. But today, he's in prison too. Kennedy's message was clear. The DOJ can still bring down the mighty, but only if it resists the temptation to play politics. Because if it doesn't, victories like these become meaningless. They become distractions in a system Americans no longer trust. That's where Kennedy's questioning hit its most dangerous point. He reminded Bondi that the Department of Justice is more than a courtroom. It's the foundation of the entire country's trust. And while thousands of men and women inside the DOJ are risking their lives, chasing fraudsters, protecting families, and defending ordinary Americans, a small minority can ruin it all. Kennedy accused that minority of delegitimizing the system by twisting justice into a political weapon. He said the curtains have been drawn too tightly for years, hiding misconduct from the public. And every time the DOJ mishandles a politically charged case, that curtain gets darker. The stakes couldn't be higher. Kennedy's sharpest warning came when he pointed to the decision to prosecute a former president. He didn't hedge his words. He called it stupid, not because it let someone walk free, but because it broke the seal. America had never done that before. It normalized something that should never be normal, turning the justice system into a battlefield for political revenge. Kennedy warned that once the seal is broken, there's no going back. Every ambitious prosecutor in the country, Democrat or Republican, will start looking at the other side's leaders and thinking, why not? Imagine it. Every election season turning into a courtroom war, where losing power means facing charges from the other side. That's not accountability. That's chaos. And chaos is what Kennedy says is coming if we don't fix this. He painted a picture of what happens when prosecutors use their power for politics. It's not just one man or one party on trial. It's the system itself. Because when Americans believe justice is nothing more than a partisan game, they stop following it. They stop obeying laws. They see every trial as rigged and every verdict as fake. That's when the streets erupt. That's when democracy starts to crumble. And Kennedy's words made it clear. America is already walking that razor's edge. But Kennedy didn't just issue warnings. He offered Bondi a challenge. He told her to root out the bad actors inside the DOJ, to find the ones who twist the law and remove them, to lift up the men and women who do their jobs with fairness and courage, and to resist the voices telling her to fight corruption with more corruption. Because two wrongs don't make a right. They don't make justice. They just make revenge. Kennedy's demand was simple: restore legitimacy with facts, evidence, and fairness. Nothing else will work. That's the thread tying everything together. The downfall of Avenatti, the crash of Bankman-Fried, and Kennedy's grilling of Bondi. They all point to one truth. Justice only works when it's blind. If it's selective, it's worthless. If prosecutors decide cases based on politics instead of law, then America's justice system is nothing more than a weapon dressed up in legal robes. And that's a future we cannot afford. So what happens next? That depends on whether leaders like Bondi rise to the challenge. If she succeeds, the DOJ could begin to restore its credibility. It could prove that fairness still matters, that no one is above the law and no one is beneath its protection. But if she fails, if politics continues to poison prosecutions, then every courtroom in America risks becoming a stage for partisan revenge. And once that happens, there may be no way back. Here's the truth. Avenatti thought fame could shield him, and it didn't. Bankman-Fried thought money could shield him, and it didn't. But what if politics becomes the ultimate shield? What if connections, party loyalty, or media power decide who faces consequences and who doesn't? That's the nightmare Kennedy warned about. Because once the system bends to politics, it doesn't snap back. It stays broken. And broken justice means broken trust. This is why Kennedy's hearing with Bondi matters more than a headline. It's not just about her confirmation. It's about whether the DOJ can still be trusted to deliver justice without fear or favor. Because if Americans stop believing in that, then the glue that holds the country together starts to crack. Laws only matter if people respect them. And people only respect them if they believe the system applying them is fair. Strip away that belief, and everything else unravels. The stakes don't get higher than this. The legitimacy of America's justice system is on the line. And Kennedy's voice, echoing in that hearing room, is a warning for everyone. Fix it now, or watch chaos take its place. So what do you think? Can Pam Bondi restore legitimacy to a system that feels like it's cracking under pressure? Or are we heading into a future where the law is just another weapon in Washington's arsenal? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want to keep uncovering the stories that the mainstream won't tell you, hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and stay tuned. The next one is even more controversial.